is the fact it doesn't matter what the other person does, but it matters what you're doing. A few people, well, really more than a few people, last week Sunday after church, during the week, I got some texts and emails. It's like, Pastor, we're trying to forgive so-and-so, or we're working on this within our life, or I've tried this, but the other person really isn't asking for forgiveness at all. They're not asking it. They're not acknowledging what they did. They're not saying, yeah, we did something wrong. So really, do I have to forgive? But yep. Maybe we'll go through the whole talk last week again this week, but yes, we do. What do we have in Romans chapter 5? Romans chapter 5, the Apostle Paul says, God demonstrated His love towards us that while we were still sinners. Christ died for my sins 2,000 years ago. I didn't have an opportunity to ask for forgiveness when He died for my sins. He did it while I was yet a sinner. While I was yet a sinner, Christ died for me. Forgiveness is not contingent on the other person. Forgiveness is contingent on you and I striving to, wanting to, learning to walk in relationship with Jesus Christ. And walk the walk that Christ is calling us to. Could you imagine if God, and I know we talked about this, that Jesus says, forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And there's part of that aspect within forgiveness. As we forgive, we are forgiven. And yet, could you imagine that if God said, well, I'm not going to forgive you your sins until you do this and this and this and this and this? No, Paul says, while we were yet sinners, in the midst of the sin of our life, Christ died for us. Christ died for me. Christ gave me forgiveness. And I know, I totally understand, because I've had to walk it, with people who have not asked for forgiveness, or have not acknowledged the wrong that they have done to you or to me. But that doesn't take away my responsibility to offer the forgiveness. Okay, I just wanted to bring that up. For those of you that were here last week, you know what I'm talking about. If you weren't here last week, it's online. Check it out online. We put every service online, so if you wonder, check it out. It's always nice to see if we get more than 2 or 3 hits, because I know one of those is my mom every week. So, hi, Mom. She does. She checks it every Sunday, or every week, which is really nice. But with that idea of forgiveness, I want us this week to take another step, and that's to think about conflict resolution, or in some respects, reconciliation, how to work out the issues that we might have with somebody else. And again, to do this, it means really that you have 2 people who want to sit down and actually work it out. Okay? Forgiveness is not contingent on the other person. Conflict resolution is when 2 of you or more sit down and say, okay, what are we going to do with this issue? See, the reality is we tend to, as people, we tend to have 2 reactions when we get into an issue within our life. 2 basic instincts. We either fight or we flight. You probably have all heard this before. You start to have that issue going on, like with Ray and Deborah. They both got into the fighting aspect. They're going after each other. If you'd pull it up online, it's a lot longer clip. They're just fighting, and they're doing the words with each other, and man, they're going for each other's throats. Some of us like to fight. You notice where I sit when I say some of us? Man, you can ask Sue. She would say that I am a fighter. I will argue tooth and nail. I will be that lawyer that will defend what I'm thinking or saying or my action, and I got good reasons, A, B, C, D, and I'm going for it. Fight. The other one are those of you who flight. Flight. You run away. Man, I'm not going to deal with this issue. I'm going to leave. We have this issue within our marriage relationship, within our family, within the church, within the work. But I'm just going to leave. I'm not going to go to the meeting at work because I don't like the other person. I'm just going to flight. I'm going to run away. Does that fit for some of you? One or the other? I know when I said fight, some of you were going, yeah, we fight. Some of the spouses were elbowing your husband because I think maybe some of the men maybe fight more, maybe not. But there's the fight and the flight. But I really think there's a different way that we are called to be with each other. A different way that we're called to move into a relationship with each other. Proverbs has this to say. There are 6 things that the Lord hates. 7 that are detestable to him. Haughty eyes, a lying tongue, hands that shed innocent blood, a heart that devises wicked schemes, feet that are quick to rush into evil, a false witness who pours out lies, and the last one, and a man who stirs up dissension among brothers. Or we could say a woman who stirs up dissension among other women. In other words, a person who stirs up dissension is causing conflict, doesn't want to walk into conflict resolution with other people. God says, that's one person I really don't like. Now, and I think we need to ask ourselves, are we doing any of these 7 and what we're looking at today? Where are you with that? You know, there are some people who thrive on controversy. I know some. I've had some in my family. They thrive on controversy. And if there's controversy going on, they create controversy. Because it's like through controversy, they feel like they're in relationship. And through controversy, there's connection going on. It's pretty draining to be with people like that. And if you're a person like that who thrives on controversy, I would think it'd be pretty draining also, to always having to come up with more controversy within your life. I think we need to realize that scripturally, as the author of Proverbs says here, God hates. That's a strong word, isn't it? I mean, don't we all raise our kids to tell them, never say the word hate, I hate you? You know, if kids growing up, when my kids were growing up, if they ever said, I hate you, Dad, it was like, whoop, sorry. I love you, I know you love me, but you're in your room. You know, you don't talk to Dad like that. You don't disrespect me. You don't dish me. You're gone. But God hates it when you and I cause dissension among each other. So what do we do with that? What do we do when we're struggling, when there's the issues that I think one thing, and Sue, my wife, thinks a totally different way. I can't tell you how often that happens, but often I'm on one side, she's on the other side. So what do? Fight? We do that. It doesn't get us anyplace. Flight? We do that. It doesn't get us anyplace. But there's a better way for us to learn to be in relationship, just not in marriage relationship, but in the church relationship, in your business relationship. So what we're going to look at, we're going to be looking at 4 different steps, 4 different ideas of conflict resolution. But with that, we also need to look at Matthew 5. It says, therefore, if you are offering your gift at the altar, and there remember that your brother or sister has something against you, leave your gift there and go first be reconciled. Go and be reconciled. Then come again and offer your gifts. Now I wonder if I would have had this passage up before we took offering, how many of you would have taken off? And say, whoa, you know, I got to go call somebody. I got to go meet somebody. Maybe it's even somebody here in the sanctuary. Oh, man, I got to go meet them out in the back in the lobby and just ask for some forgiveness or be reconciled to them. Pretty strong words that God has to say to us, that Christ has to say to us. That when we are not in a relationship and when we've been causing dissension, controversy in relationships with others, it hinders that relationship that we have with God. It hinders that one-on-one with God. Sometimes people will say to me, or they'll say, hey, PG, it feels like my prayer life is getting no place. Feels like there's a glass ceiling that I'm praying and it's just getting no place. And there have been sometimes I've sort of asked the question, well,